The shocking secret. Millionaire CEO who never smiled in 20 years finally broke down at midnight. In the high-rise heart of the city, where neon lights flicker like whispers of something darker, the clock struck 12. Inside a luxury penthouse, shrouded in shadows and secrets, the air was thick with an unreal tension. For 20 long years, Samuel Graves had worn a mask of stoicism, a billionaire with a visage as hard as the steel he bent to his will. He never smiled, not once. Not even when the world cheered his name. But on this fateful night something snapped. A sound echoed through the sleek walls, a sharp crack, like lightning splitting the night, but it wasn't thunder. It was the sound of a man breaking. The silence was deafening. His breathing came in ragged gasps, like the final breaths of a dying phoenix. Confined within his glass fortress, he felt the weight of his isolation. A chair screeched across the polished floor as he stumbled back, eyes wide with fear, searching for something he couldn't quite grasp. Was it regret? Loneliness? Or perhaps, he was chasing the ghost of a memory long buried beneath his relentless pursuit of success. Then it happened. A flash of color drew his attention. A crimson envelope rested on the dining table, glowing eerily under the dim light. It was a stark contrast to the meticulously curated world around him, a jolt in an otherwise monochrome existence. He hesitated, heart hammering, as the images of what he had built and lost flooded his mind like a turbulent river. What secrets lay within that envelope? Was it a warning? A revelation? As he reached for it, a thought gripped him, a premonition that something monumental was about to unravel. Just then his phone buzzed violently, shattering the silence again. The screen lit up, showing an unrecognized number. The depths of his gut twisted. A storm brewing as he knew he should answer it. But what if it was the answer to questions he feared asking? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. With a trembling hand, he picked up the crimson envelope, feeling the weight of destiny in his grip. Just then the phone buzzed again, pulling his focus. Samuel, it's time to face the truth. Was it a friend? An enemy? Was this simply a cruel joke in his already twisted life? The walls around him felt as if they were closing in, shadows whispering his name, shadowy figures mocking him with every passing second. But what lay behind this midnight breakdown? And would he finally confront what haunted him for years? The city's heartbeat pulsed around him, an orchestra of life playing on as he stood frozen in uncertainty. And in that stark moment, he knew one thing: this was just the beginning. Samuel's heart raced as he carefully opened the crimson envelope, its silky texture contrasting the cold, hard reality enveloping him. Inside, a sleek, heavy card slipped free, and he caught a glimpse of gold lettering. For the secrets you've hidden. A chill swept through his body, freezing his thoughts in place. He unfolded the card, revealing a short, scrawled message. Meet me at the place where it all began. Midnight has come and gone, but the truth waits for you. His breath caught in his throat. Memories flooded back, visions of his childhood home, a worn, sprawling estate now forgotten amidst his rise to power. The mansion, with its creaking floors and shadowy corridors, held secrets he sought to bury. The phone buzzed again, this time more insistent. He glanced down, and his pulse quickened as he saw the same unrecognized number flashing on the screen. Exhaling slowly, he hesitated, wrestling with a feeling of urgency that told him the moment had arrived. Finally he pressed accept. Samuel, a mocking voice crooned from the other end. So good to hear you. Did you get my invitation? Who is this? Samuel's voice trembled but attempted to exude confidence. What do you want from me? A low chuckle echoed through the line. Oh, you know exactly who I am. Your past is calling and it wants answers. You're not as invincible as you think. With each word, a heavy weight pressed on his chest. Could it be? Was it really someone from his past? As the laughter died down, one truth pierced through the fog of his thoughts. He couldn't run anymore. The floodgates of his memories threatened to engulf him. The voice continued, wrapping its icy fingers around his mind. How long can you keep pretending, Samuel? You built this empire on the ashes of your past. Isn't it time to confront what you've lost? He clenched his fists, fighting off the surge of emotions. Shame, anger, helplessness. All the feelings he had tried to suppress now threatened to surface, rippling beneath the carefully constructed facade he had worn for so long that a heartbeat later, the call disconnected, leaving him staring at the empty screen as if it held the answers he desperately sought. Samuel paced the darkened living room, the city's neon glow seeping through the large windows, casting distorted shadows around him. Every glance around the room felt like a reminder of his empty triumph. The echoing voice resonated in his mind, punctuated by the frantic pounding of his heart. You're not as invincible as you think. He shut his eyes tight, holding on to the thought that haunted him. What if facing the truth shatters everything? Suddenly, a loud crash from another room jolted him out of his thoughts. His heart raced as he tiptoed toward the hallway, the silence between each pulse deafening. Shadows danced before him, the fear and uncertainty coiling like a vice around his throat. As he rounded the corner, he caught sight of a figure standing in the darkness. The silhouette loomed large, an outline he thought he had left behind long ago. Samuel's breath hitched. Was it a figment of his fractured mind or a specter of the past come to reclaim him? Samuel. It's time we talked, the figure said slowly, stepping into the light. His blood turned to ice. He knew that voice. It belonged to someone he had tried to forget. Now the real game begins. The stakes had never felt higher. What had he awakened? The shadows whispered secrets he was not ready to hear, and only time would tell if he had the courage to face them. But as the figure approached, he had to wonder, was this an opportunity for redemption, or the end of his carefully crafted life? Samuel's mind raced as the figure stepped into the dim glow of the living room, revealing a face that twisted memories and regret into a single palpable feeling. It was Daniel, his brother, lost, broken, yet somehow standing before him like a ghost demanding reckoning. Why now? Samuel's voice wavered, caught between disbelief and dread. Why after all these years? Daniel's eyes, once filled with the innocence of youth, now shone like darkened marbles. Because you thought you could forget. But we both know that the past doesn't just vanish, Sammy. It festers. The word stung, twisting a knife deep in Samuel's chest as he struggled to grasp the moment. This was not just a confrontation. This was a reckoning. You shouldn't be here, Samuel blurted, feeling the warmth of anger rising, stoking the embers of his long-buried guilt. And yet, here I am, Daniel replied, the mocking tone fading. I had to see you. You've become a king in the shadows, but you wear a crown of lies. Samuel's fists clenched as Daniel's words echoed, pushing him further back into memories he had tried so hard to bury. The laughter that once filled their home was replaced by memories of angry exchanges and cold silences. The mansion had suffocated their brotherhood, wrapped them in the twisted echoes of unspoken battles. Get out, Samuel commanded, his voice laced with insistence. But the words sounded hollow even to him. Listen to me. Daniel stepped closer, the distance shrinking like the space between their rapidly beating hearts. Do you really think your throne can protect you? Everyone you touch, you'll destroy just like he did. Don't you want to confront it? It was never like that. You don't know, Samuel began, but the warmth of denial was evaporating, replaced by a raw fear of exposure. Oh, I know plenty, Daniel interrupted, his voice lowering as he leaned in. You're a reflection of everything you tried to outrun, the pain, the betrayal. All those broken promises. You're exactly like him. The accusation hung in the air. Samuel flinched as the memories of their father's rage flooded back, acrid and suffocating. You know nothing, he spat, but deep in his chest a cold dread gripped him. Don't fight it, Daniel urged, eyes ablaze with fervor. This is the moment, Samuel. You wanted to find who you are? The truth is waiting in the shadows of your past. You want to understand what you've lost? Samuel's heart hammered in his chest, an echo of the years lost to ambition and avoidance. What do you want? He managed to choke out, desperation creeping into his voice. I want you to face the monster, Daniel said, stepping even closer, their foreheads almost touching. And then maybe we can save what's left of us. Suddenly, a shattering sound broke through the tension. A window late in the night, glass raining down like scattered memories. Samuel jerked in surprise, instinctively moving to shield Daniel. But he froze, grounding himself in the reality of their confrontation. For a brief moment, clarity cut through the storm of emotions swirling inside him. "You think I can just undo everything?" he said quietly, trembling. "Samuel, this isn't just about you anymore. It's about facing what you've been avoiding for far too long," Daniel whispered, urgency lacing his words. A flicker of hope ignited within him, tightly snuffed by fear. Could confronting the truth lead to something more? Or would it unravel everything he had built? Before he could respond, the door flew open. Muffled shouts and the sound of footsteps pounded through the air, slicing the tension thick as a knife. "Samuel!" A voice shouted from the dark hallway. Samuel's heart plummeted. Who was coming? Who had followed? "Get down!" he yelled instinctively, instincts kicking in, but Daniel stood firm. A haunting confrontation woven into their grief. With chaos erupting around them, Samuel's thoughts raced. Was he ready to confront the truths that lay ahead? The decision weighed heavy on him as the darkness loomed, amplifying the sense of impending doom. But whatever was about to happen, one thing was clear: their past was about to catch up to them in a way neither of them could foresee. As shadows danced ominously, Samuel felt the weight of revelation closing in. In that moment he realized he couldn't run anymore. The truth was here, lurking, and it demanded to be set free. What would emerge from the chaos? The ground shifted beneath him, leaving Samuel wondering just how deep the secrets ran. Was he ready for what lived in the light? The door burst open with a violent crash, sending Samuel's heart racing even faster. In an instant, multiple figures filled the entrance, their silhouettes cutting jagged shadows across the tiled floor. The air thickened with tension, as freezing cold reality gripped Samuel's spine. "Get on the ground!" A figure barked, authoritative and forceful. A flashlight beam illuminated the chaos, momentarily blinding Samuel. He squinted, trying to see through the harsh light. "Who are you?" Daniel breathed, still standing defiant, unyielding even against the threat of authority. Samuel felt a wave of panic wash over him, forcing his instincts into overdrive. "Federal agents! Step away from him!" The voice roared again, echoing through the house with a kind of anger that seized Samuel's breath. His gaze darted back at Daniel. The brother he longed to confront stood paralyzed, a fragile mix of vulnerability and defiance flickering in his stare. Samuel's chest tightened. This was not how it was supposed to go. This was supposed to be about healing, not a collision with the law. "Samuel, you need to comply." Daniel broke the silence, urgency lacing his voice. "Just do what they say. We can talk later." Confusion wrestled with adrenaline. Samuel's thoughts scrambled as adrenaline coursed through him. Compliance didn't feel right, not when he still had unsaid things hanging between them, truths begging for attention. But as the agents pressed closer, he felt the crushing weight of the moment. "Turn around. Hands up." The commands blared through the air, sharp and demanding. Samuel lifted his hands, yet he felt a brewing storm stirring inside his mind. What had he done to draw such attention? "Samuel!" Daniel yelled, as agents circled him like hungry wolves. "Please just trust me. Don't let them take you." Another voice piped in, authoritative and smooth, cutting through the tension like a knife. "We're not here to hurt anyone, but we need answers. You both know more than you're willing to admit." The words cloaked Samuel in a chilling dread. "Answers? What answers?" He squeezed his eyes shut, desperately wanting to push the past away. Yet, it flashed before him events he thought buried resurfacing with a vengeance. "It's about the deal you made, isn't it?" The agent continued, his eyes narrowing as he attempted to read Samuel's reaction. "You can't hide behind walls any longer." Samuel's head spun. What deal? Have they really come for him, to drag skeletons from his closet and toss them into the harsh light of day? The words danced through his mind, full of bitterness and unspoken accusations. "Stop. Just let us explain," Daniel shouted. His plea pierced the chaos, but the agent showed no signs of backing down. "Enough," the lead agent commanded, moving closer, aiming that penetrating beam of light directly at Samuel's face. "Everything we uncover will determine how this ends for you both. Answer our questions honestly, no more lies. Then, A stroke of recognition hit Samuel like a bucket of ice water. Daniel had been right. Their entire lives had been under the cloud of their father's mistakes. And now those shadows were out to catch them, threatening to bring everything crashing down around them. A fierce tremor seized Samuel's hands, and as he momentarily lost himself to the whirlwind brewing within, the question pounded in his skull. Was he truly ready to lay it all bare? To confront the monster that had haunted them for years both outside and within? Samuel! Daniel's voice cut through the fog, pleading, frantic, a reminder of their brotherhood. Don't forget what we talked about. The truth is the only way out. The agents advanced, the situation escalating, pushing Samuel further away from the truth he desperately needed to face. He stood frozen, caught between diving into the depths of their past or allowing the walls around him to seal tight once more, keeping the monsters at bay. But wouldn't that just lead to more nightmares? As the realization crashed over him, his breathing quickened. Just when certainty threatened to slip, he caught a glimpse of Daniel, eyes alive with shared understanding. Was he finally ready to confront the truth? No matter how painful, what once felt impossible loomed closer, demanding a choice, to fight for redemption or sink back into silence. And just as thought collided with resolve, a loud bang erupted from outside, the kind that shook the ground beneath them. Samuel's gut twisted. What now? What new threat loomed on the horizon? The loud bang sent an electric shock through Samuel's veins. Glass shattered and a distant commotion surged, spilling into the tense stillness of the room. The agents flinched, their focus momentarily shifting toward the doorway, uncertainty flickering across their faces. What was that? One of them hissed, eyes wide, scanning the area. Samuel seized the moment. With his heart racing, he turned to Daniel, who had been watching the agents as if weighing his options. We can't just stand here, Samuel urged, a mix of fear and determination igniting within him. Daniel shook his head. No, we can't run. If we do, we're only making it worse. We need to stay. We need to face this. Another bang resonated from the outside, louder this time, punctuated by the sound of shouting. Samuel felt each thud reverberate through his body. What was happening out there? The urgency settled into the hollow pit of his stomach. Get down! One of the agents yelled as a series of gunshots rang out, startling them all into action. Samuel dropped instinctively, hitting the ground as the chaos erupted around him. Daniel followed suit, shielding Samuel with his body. The agents scrambled for cover, barking orders at each other, their shouts slicing through the curling smoke of confusion that hung in the air. The front door buckled under the weight of forceful blows. Samuel's mind raced. Were they under attack? Was this a rescue or an onslaught? Stay low, one agent barked, his voice strained and urgent. We need backup. Samuel's pulse pounded fiercely in his ears as he tried to understand what was happening. The world outside felt like a war zone, the sounds of chaos creeping in through the gaps around him. Sweat beaded on his forehead, desperate for clarity amidst the storm of adrenaline. Tell them the truth, Daniel hissed into Samuel's ear, his voice raw with urgency. They need to know about everything. You have to tell them. Samuel could barely process the suggestion. His thoughts flickered back to their father, how everything had spiraled from that one reckless decision. All those years of silence, of burying the truth, came flooding back like a dam ready to burst. Samuel! Daniel pressed. Now, before it's too late. Outside, the sounds escalated, voices clashing, footsteps crashing against the pavement. It was a mix of urgency and fear that mirrored what churned in Samuel's heart. He hated feeling cornered, yet he felt an undeniable itch to take control, to create a path through the mess. Suddenly, he caught a flicker of movement through the dust-strewn window. Figures darting, silhouettes mingled with flashes of light. What was happening? The scene outside merged into a disorienting blur. Talk to me. You need to say something, Daniel urged, panic mounting. Samuel clenched his jaw, a surge of anger and frustration bubbling inside. All those years of hiding, of avoiding the pain they'd led him here, to this moment of chaos. If he didn't face it now, would he ever be able to live with himself? Okay, Samuel shouted, the fight within him igniting. I'll tell them, but we have to get through this first. He steadied his breath, feeling the weight of his brother's eyes on him, urging him onward. The agents were still in motion, confusion spiking within their ranks. "Stay calm and stay low," they yelled, but nothing felt calm about the impending storm brewing around them. Just when he thought nothing could get worse, the door began to splinter, threats banging through the wood, demanding entry. Samuel turned to Daniel, their eyes locked in a moment that felt painfully infinite. "Whatever happens," Daniel murmured, "we face it together." As the door cracked open under relentless pressure, a pair of ominous eyes peeked through the widening gap. Fear washed over Samuel, but just beyond the door, everything was about to change, for better or worse. How would they face the truth now, when shadows of the past threatened to engulf them? And just then, a booming voice echoed from outside, "We're coming in. Federal agents." The door splintered wider, shards of wood scattering like confetti. Samuel held his breath, adrenaline surging. It felt as though time slowed, every heartbeat echoing in his ears. The looming figure framed in the doorway was clad in tactical gear, a heavy weapon in hand. He looked formidable, a storm cloud of authority ready to unleash chaos. "Get back," the agent barked, stepping past the threshold, eyes darting with laser focus. He scanned the room, locking on the two brothers huddled together on the floor. "Are you hurt?" he shouted, urgency gripping his voice. Samuel hesitated, the question hanging uncomfortably. Hurt? Physically? Mentally? The turmoil within him felt far too deep to address right now. "No, we're fine," Daniel responded, his voice steady despite the tension. He glanced toward Samuel, that spark of determination still flickering between them. "We just need to enough." A second agent burst in, surveying the chaos outside. The noise intensified, a cacophony of shouting and pounding feet. They weren't just under attack. They were caught in the eye of a storm, an unfolding nightmare that seemed to have no end. "We have to secure the area. Move out." The agents rushed around, creating a barrier of bodies and weapons as the storm outside continued to howl and crash. Samuel felt the weight of the moment crash against him. This was it. They were in the middle of a reckoning, not just with the present but with the past. "Tell them the truth," Daniel whispered again. "Now's the time. They'll understand." Samuel's hands trembled, but determination coursed through him again. He shifted, locked eyes with the lead agent, gathering every ounce of courage. "You all need to know about our father," the words tasted bitter on his tongue. "About the money, the secrets, everything. You have to listen." The lead agent turned, eyes narrowing, doubt mingling with concern. "What are you talking about?" A flash of movement caught Samuel's attention. Outside, shadows darted, and the noise crescendoed, breaking through the veil of the chaos. These were not just rogue attackers, they were organized. They seemed to know exactly what they were doing. "The money you're here to protect," Samuel pressed, fighting panic. "It's dirty. It's tied to our family's past. You're looking for answers in the wrong places." For a brief moment, silence enveloped the room, and every person in that cramped space felt the weight of every unsaid word. "Let us move to the back," an agent yelled, breaking the tension. "We're not safe here." Samuel felt a surge of panic. "No, we can't leave. If they know the truth, they might then tell it." Daniel shot back, clutching Samuel's arm. "Tell them everything before it's too late." Just then, another loud bang shook the room, the paneling around them rattling. The agents glanced at each other, uncertainty mixing with resolve. "Listen, Samuel," the lead agent said, taking a step closer. "We need answers now or we might not make it out of here." "What's going on?" Breathless, Samuel nodded, a strange sense of purpose igniting his spirit. After years of hiding, of wrestling with guilt, he felt a breakthrough shift within him. All the emotions he buried beneath the surface begged to be released. But before he could shape the words, a thin crack appeared in the hallway beyond the room. A shadow slipped through, something sinister and dark. "Back now," the agent commanded, raising his weapon toward the door. Samuel's heart raced as he realized that whatever lay beyond that threshold could change everything. The pulse of danger quickened with every second, and Samuel felt the familiar tendrils of fear creeping back in. "Samuel, it's time to decide," Daniel urged, eyes fixed on the door, fear and determination warring within him. "Are you ready to face the truth?" "Are we?" Outside, another voice called, familiar yet unearthly, and it sent chills down Samuel's spine. He was caught between revealing the secrets of his past and the impending doom that loomed in the shadows. What would be left of them after the truth came crashing in? And as the door shook against the relentless pounding, one thought lingered painfully. Would their past consume them before they even had a chance to fight back? The moment was closing in, and Samuel had to make a choice. But would he have the courage to fully face the flames? The crack in the hallway widened, and the shadows spilled into the room like ink spreading on a page. Samuel's heart hammered, drowning out the chaos that surrounded them. The figure that emerged was tall, cloaked in darkness, blending with the fear stirring in the cramped space. "Get behind me!" the lead agent yelled, his voice slicing through the thick tension. The brothers pressed tighter against the wall, the cool surface biting into Samuel's skin. "Who are you?" the agent demanded, raising his weapon, fingers poised with tension. A deep voice echoed from the shadow. "You don't need to be so hostile." The figure stepped into the light, and the sight made Samuel's blood run cold. It was Max, a man from their father's past who they thought had vanished into obscurity. Samuel's mind raced, grappling with the implications. "Max?" Samuel whispered, disbelief washing over him. "What are you doing here?" Max smiled, a twisted version of warmth that sent shivers down Samuel's spine. "I'm here for what's mine. Funny how family ties always seem to lead back to the past, isn't it? That past is dead." Daniel spat out, fists clenched at his sides. "It should stay buried." "The past never stays buried," Max hissed. "Especially not the kind that comes with a fortune." Samuel could feel the weight of Daniel's words echo in his mind. How much did Max know? And what did he mean by fortune? Just then the shriek of sirens cut sharply through the air outside, growing closer, intensifying the urgency that gripped them all. "Your father had secrets," Max continued, his voice smooth like oil. "Secrets worth a lot of money. What do you want?" Samuel's voice cracked, a mix of defiance and fear swirling within him. He wished he could stand tall, but the truth was a noose tightening around his throat. "Just a conversation, boys. But it's clear you have a choice to make." He gestured dramatically around the room. "Do you tell them everything or do I?" The threat was palpable, wrapping around them like a dark fog. The lead agent's grip on the weapon didn't waver, but uncertainty flickered across his face. "Get back. You're outnumbered." "Am I?" Max laughed, the sound chilling. His eyes glowed with a predatory gleam. "Look closer, agent. You don't know how many of us are out there." A loud crash interrupted the moment, and the door burst open entirely. More agents flooded in, moving with military precision, weapons drawn. Samuel felt an instinctive rush of relief, but he also sensed the shift in power. Max simply smiled wider, as if this was all part of a game, a twisted chess move. "Leave them out of this," Daniel shouted, stepping forward, embodying a protective fury. "We'll talk." "Wrong move." Max's voice dropped, suddenly serious. "You think this is just about you? If the truth comes out, it won't just be your messy family secrets that will end up in the open." "What is that supposed to mean?" Samuel snapped, desperation rising. "You might find out sooner than you think." That's when the chaos exploded. Agents shouted commands, the air thick with the tension of uncertainty, as everyone seemed to prepare for a potentially fatal culmination of secrets. Samuel's stomach twisted. His heart raced with a blend of panic and anger. How had they wound up here, cornered by a ghost from their past? "Samuel," Daniel said urgently, pulling him closer, "if there's a truth to share, it's now or never." Samuel looked from Daniel to the agents, from Max to the door that still rattled from unseen forces. Time was slipping away, and he could feel the walls closing in. But what could he reveal that wouldn't cost them everything? And as adrenaline surged through him, a thunderous roar erupted from the street, and the ground beneath them seemed to tremble. What was happening outside? And what revelations lay ahead that could either save them or destroy everything? The question was urgent, and Samuel had to decide. Would he give in to the darkness, or take a step forward into the light of truth? The sound of approaching sirens grew louder, a mixture of chaos and impending doom that echoed in the cramped room. Every agent was on edge, glancing around as if expecting an attack from every shadow. Samuel could feel Daniel's grip tighten on his arm, the heat radiating between them, a silent promise of support. "Do it," Daniel insisted, his voice urgent. "Tell them everything. I can't just throw it all out there." Samuel shot back, his heart racing. "What if it endangers us?" Max's laughter cut through their tension again. Ah, the sweet taste of betrayal. But don't worry, Samuel. I have no intention of letting you off easy. If you think you can keep your secret safe, think again. The air was thick with fear. Samuel's breath hitched as his memories blurred and rushed forward the shadowy figures from his childhood. Whispered arguments behind closed doors. And the wealth that came with a legacy he hadn't asked for. Secrets wrapped around him like chains. Stop stalling. The lead agent barked, shifting impatiently, weapon still trained on Max's chest. Samuel noticed the flicker of uncertainty in his eyes. That moment made all of this even more real. How far would they go to protect their own? Listen, Samuel said, his voice trembling but resolute. You want to know the truth? Our parents, they were involved in something much bigger than we realized. We thought it was about money, but it was something darker. Max's eyes gleamed, almost excited. There we go. Tell them, Samuel. Show them what it means to come from a family riddled with shadows. Stop playing games. The agent moved closer, frustration evident. As Samuel's thoughts swirled, another crash sounded from the street, loud enough to shake the very foundation of the building. People screamed outside. The chaos was spilling into their lives. Samuel, focus. Daniel urged, his voice cutting through the panic. What's the core of it? What do you know? It's about the legacy. The generational wealth. It was built on lies. Samuel shouted, feeling the weight of truth fighting against the burdens of fear. Our father was hiding something. And it's coming for us. We must face it. Max leaned closer, intrigue evident in his smug expression. Oh, this is delicious. The denial slowly peeling away. What do you think they'll do if they hear the truth? Very messy, wouldn't you agree? Samuel's heart raced harder, realizing how precarious their situation was becoming. The agents standing with weapons at the ready were fully aware of how deep the roots of that darkness ran. I can't risk their safety, he shouted, despite the pang in his chest. Then it's time for them to hear a different story. Max's voice was low, threatening. You'll regret not embracing the truth, Samuel. Promise. Samuel. We need a plan. Daniel implored again, his voice laced with urgency. The ground shook once more, a tremor echoing through the walls, causing dust to drizzle from the ceiling. The agents held steady, but uncertainty crept in. Samuel looked to their leader, then back to Max, a whirlwind of emotions colliding within him. We might not have a choice, he murmured, but his insides twisted at the thought. If we're going to get through this, we have to expose everything. With every second ticking on, the pounding outside escalated. He could feel a shift in the air, a thick electric charge. Something's coming, Daniel whispered, and in that grim moment, a realization hit Samuel. This was no ordinary day. The storm outside mirrored the tempest within, and the time for secrets was running out. Suddenly, an explosion shook the ground, and the lights flickered, plunging the room into brief darkness. With the noise of sirens ringing in his ears, Samuel felt an icy grip of dread. What had they unleashed? What other truths loomed right at their door? The blast rocked the building, sending dust and debris cascading down like shrapnel. Samuel instinctively ducked, pulling Daniel down with him. The bright flashes of emergency lights outside illuminated their cramped quarters, casting everything in a crimson hue that felt almost like a warning. Get ready. We need to move. The lead agent shouted, his voice rising above the chaos. He gestured sharply for his team to set defensive positions. Tension crackled in the air, painfully palpable as everyone braced for what might come next. Max reveled in the pandemonium, his laughter haunting against the backdrop of confusion. This is just the beginning, Samuel. Do you really think you can escape the legacy planted at your feet? Shut him up. One of the agents barked, urgency turning to aggression. As if summoned by Sam's escalating panic, heavy footsteps stomped up the stairwell. Each step echoed ominously until finally, the door burst open and a flood of officers stormed in, guns drawn, eyes scanning for threats. Samuel's heart raced as he caught sight of Daniel, wide-eyed and visibly shaking. He wanted to reassure him, but the fear clawed at his throat. Hands in the air. Everyone on the ground. Came the shout, loud and uncompromising. Samuel's mind whirled, calculating the enormity of their situation, options slipping through his fingers like grains of sand. What now? He murmured, knowing they were teetering on the brink. Remember, don't mention my name, Max taunted, savoring every moment of their impending doom. It's not just your life at stake, you know? This is bigger than you could ever comprehend. A realization twisted painfully in Samuel's gut. Max! He yelled, adrenaline surging through him. If we're all going down, you're not dragging me with you. But Max only continued to smirk, confident in his layered lies and twisted manipulations. Just then the agent leader took a step forward, shouting, "We don't have time for games. Tell us now, what do you know about this operation?" Samuel glanced at Daniel, whose expression mirrored his own sense of despair. I don't know how deep it goes," he stammered, his voice shaky. "But I suspect there's something tied to our parents, a cartel maybe. They were involved in something rotten." "Stop!" the agent shouted, eyes narrowing. "Enough with the riddles." Samuel felt an insistent push from Daniel, who urged him with a glance, a hint of fear lacing through their bond. The agent pulled up a small device with flashing lights, a tiny screen flickering ominously. "If you're not willing to talk," he warned, "we can't protect you from what's coming." Before he could process it, the ground trembled again, more violently this time. The walls shuddered, and a nearby window shattered, sending shards splintering into the room like icicles. He winced, realizing the storm outside was no longer a distant thought, it was crashing down on them. "Samuel, stand firm. We're running out of time," Daniel urged breathlessly. Max's grin seemed to widen, electricity crackling in the air around him. "They'll never believe you. Just give in, Samuel. They'll see you as just another pawn." In a flash, something in Samuel snapped. "No!" he yelled, rising to his feet. "No more hiding." As he steeled himself, everyone paused. The air thickened with tension. "You want truth?" he spat, his resolve building. "Then I'll show you everything." But before he could utter another word, gunfire erupted outside, a devastating volley that sent everyone crashing to the floor, hearts racing in the sudden pandemonium. Samuel pressed his back against the wall, breathless, as Daniel grasped his hand. "What have we done?" he whispered, fear flickering in his eyes. For a brief moment, time seemed to freeze, and Samuel realized they had crossed a line they were in so deep that there might be no escaping the truth. Then, amidst the chaos, a shadow loomed, dark and intimidating, appearing at the doorway, followed by an unnatural silence. "Prepare for the worst. We've been located," came a low voice, drawing closer. Samuel's heart sank. Who or what was coming for them? And more importantly, were they ready to face the revelations that awaited? The echo of gunfire faded into an eerie silence, swallowing the immediate chaos that had erupted moments ago. Samuel's heart thundered in his ears, and he shared a glance with Daniel. A mix of terror and determination flickered between them. They were standing on the edge of a precipice, facing whatever horrors awaited them in the truth. Suddenly, the doorway filled with shadows. A tall figure emerged, silhouetted against the blaring lights outside. A chill coursed through Samuel. Was this the end? Samuel Graves stepped forward. The figure commanded with a voice like gravel scraping against stone. Ignoring the tremble in his legs, Samuel took a step ahead. Daniel grabbed his elbow, grounding him, bringing a sense of strength that he desperately needed. "I'm here," Samuel said, defiance lacing his words. "What do you want? Your life as you know it is over. You are at the mercy of your past unless you're willing to cooperate." "Cooperate?" Samuel challenged, the word tasted bitter in his mouth. "You think I can just give you all the answers you're looking for? What do you know?" "Enough." The figure took a step closer, eyes narrowing. "Your family's legacy is riddled with deception and crime. Secrets are spilling into the light, and once they do, you'll be just another face in the crowd unless you claim your legacy first." Max leaned back against the wall, a smug grin plastered on his face. "You see? This is what I was talking about." Samuel's fists clenched. A whirlwind of emotions collided within him: fear, anger, desperation. Max relished the discord, ready to watch it all unravel. "What's it going to be, Samuel?" The figure sneered, shifting slightly. "The clock is ticking." Silence hung in the air like a thundercloud ready to burst. "Tell us the truth," Daniel urged, his voice calm yet unwavering. "Before it's too late." Samuel's breathing quickened as he weighed the risk. His family's legacy had shackled him for so long. He played the role of the cutthroat businessman, burying his past deep enough to forget it. But he couldn't run any longer. The truth needed to breathe. "All right," he shouted, locking eyes with the figure. "You want the truth? You think it's buried and forgotten? I'll tell you everything." Daniel squeezed his shoulder, the fear dissipating. "Do it." "I'm tired of the lies," Samuel whispered fiercely. "My parents were involved in something much darker, money laundering for a cartel. Corruption that's tied every dollar of our family's wealth to blood. We've tried to erase it from our lives long enough, but it's time to stop running." A murmur rippled amongst the gathered agents, a stir of disbelief sweeping over them. "And you think spilling your guts will save you?" The figure challenged, but uncertainty crept into his voice. "No, but it's time someone took ownership." Samuel felt the weight of every moment crash down around him, the breath hitching in his throat. "For too long I thought I could bury it all, hide behind my success, but all I built is tainted. My brother, he deserves to know." The air crackled with tension. "See, this is where it gets interesting," Max observed, his voice dripping with mockery. "Will you let his family pay for your mistakes, Sammy?" Samuel turned his gaze to Daniel, grounding himself in the unwavering loyalty that mirrored his own. He needed to protect his brother at all costs. "You deserve to hear the truth, Daniel. Whatever happens after this, we'll face it together." Doors banged open and closed as agents shuffled in place, their radios crackling with updates from the ongoing chaos outside. But Samuel zeroed in on the figure looming before him. "Do you see how deep this runs?" Samuel insisted, voice steady. "They need to know what this is and where it leads, or it'll bleed into more lives." With the weight of determination pressing down hard, Samuel took a deep breath. "We come from a legacy of silence. I won't let that dictate our lives anymore. And you think this will get you off the hook?" The figure retorted, a hint of an edge returning to his voice. "I don't care about the consequences," Samuel stated, steeling himself against the glare of scrutiny. "I'll refuse to let our family drown further in this darkness." The threat of retribution hung in the air, but Samuel found resolve within. Then suddenly chaos erupted once more. Gunshots. "Out back!" Another agent shouted amidst the panic. Voices rose to a fevered pitch, hearts racing as the reality of their situation settled. Time wasn't on their side. "Now you see," Max sneered, relishing the turmoil. "You think your truth will save you, but what you've unleashed will haunt you." As if on cue, the door swung wide open, revealing figures armed and ominous. Voices filled the air, demanding answers. "Get down!" The command sliced through the air like ice, masking his brother's cries. Samuel dropped to the ground, adrenaline fueling his instincts. Daniel followed, and together, they huddled tight, shielding one another from the unknown. "Stay close," Samuel warned, his voice barely above a whisper, the air heavy with unspoken words and haunting fears that gripped him. But amidst the storm of emotions boiling within Samuel, he felt a flicker of hope take shape. Perhaps facing his deepest fears and unearthing the truth could lead them out of this chaos together. "What's in the dark will always come to light," he mumbled to himself, pressing forward into the uncertainty. As flashes of life and chaos danced around them, Samuel glanced at Daniel, fierce determination radiating between them. They could no longer afford to hide. This was their moment. And as the dust settled around them, one thing was crystal clear. The time for reckoning had finally arrived. You need to subscribe now to ensure you don't miss exclusive stories like this. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and show us some love. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this shocking conclusion. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this ending. You know they'll thank you for it. Support the channel like the true fans you are.